Here in Richmond here this morning, expert Mike Laundry here with us. We're talking about how to keep pests away from getting inside the house and hanging around the yard. Let's first talk about wasps. Sure. Now, we've had a mild winter. Could this be a problem for wasps this year? What do you think?
It could be. If it continues and if the weather is as dry as it was last summer, it's just going to compound on the big wasp years we've had the 2 previous summers as well.
Okay, how do we deal with this?
Well, a nice little thing you can do in the backyard that's completely eco-friendly. It's not going to eliminate the wasp nest, but it's going to alleviate the issues you're having when you're trying to barbecue out in the backyard, is a wasp pheromone trap. They're completely chemical-free, and they're great. You can hang them up. Don't get them too close to where you're going to be barbecuing, because otherwise you'll just be attracting wasps.
Okay.
These will work for about 10,000 square feet. So you just add a little bit of water to the trap. You're going to want a little bit more than that. Just want to fill up to where it says the fill line. Once you've got it filled up there, if I can give you this for a second.
Absolutely.
Then you want to try and get it far enough away, again, away from where you're going to be barbecuing, but not so far so that you're not going to be attracting the wasps, but about 10,000 square feet. Most people's backyards are a little smaller than that.
This is a beautiful yard with lots of bird feeders. Was this harmful to birds?
Again, totally chemical free.
Okay.
Not harmful at all. Birds, bees, wasps, they're all going to be totally fine with this trap hanging in the tree.
That's pretty simple. How long is this effective for?
About 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So purchase a couple of them in early June and you're probably good for the summer.
Okay, thank you very much. Sugar ants and fire ants, those can be problems too. How to deal with that, and in an eco-friendly way. No joking here in Richmond here today. We are talking about pests and how to keep them out of your home and in the yard, and doing it in an eco-friendly way. Joining us is Mike Laundry, expert here. We're talking about ants now.
Yep.
How do you deal with that?
2 great home remedies that you can use are soapy water or cinnamon. With soapy water, if you just spray it around door frames, you can do the same thing with cinnamon. I would actually apply this on the inside of the house instead of the out, because it's going to collect moisture and it's not going to work as effectively. Great home remedy for small things like pavement ants, the little sugar ants that get in your kitchen during the spring and summer.
How often do you need to spray?
You could probably reapply it every week, maybe every 10 days.
Okay. What kind of damage can ants do, in particular carpenter ants?
These guys are not going to help you with carpenter ants. You're going to have to put those away and
have a look.
Look at the house. You could potentially be doing major damage.
But you've been at homes where there's been some major damage, right?
Absolutely.
What have you seen?
I've seen sawdust piles that are massive, structural beams that are completely, totally gone. They have to be replaced because these little mini excavators have destroyed the structural integrity of the home.
Okay, taking a quick look at this nice house here in Richmond, what are some of the areas that you think that the homeowner should be aware of?
Always focus on the foundation. The ants are usually going to be foraging somewhere out in the garden, and then they're going to be likely trailing along. They like to follow straight lines, so they're going to be likely trailing along, probably entering under here. They really like to follow hoses as well. So if you've got a garden hose out that's leading out into the garden and you have carpenter ants, there's a really good chance that they're going to be following that hose. They also like to be underneath leaf piles. So if you've got clutter around the outside of your house, if you have leaves built up or anything, I would pull them away and take a look underneath. You might have trails of ants under there, even though you don't realize it.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mike. Lots more coming up with Mike Thor. We're going to talk about rats and mice, how to keep them away next. Here in Richmond here this morning, we have Mike Laundry here, a pest control expert. Rats and mice. Now, the homeowner here says she has had a problem with rats, not getting in the home, but in the yard. What are ways you can deal with that?
You want to keep everything away from the house, 1.5 feet for things like pots and even stuffed chairs and any kind of clutter. If you want to call it clutter or organized clutter, just keep it away from the house, 1.5 feet.
Are these far enough away?
These are perfect. Yeah,
okay.
This pot here is placed perfectly.
Issues with barbecue sometimes.
Absolutely. A lot of people have had them.
If you find droppings in your barbecue, so you know there's a problem. The homeowner here actually found a couple of rats in her barbecue at one point. Well, how do you deal with that?
Well, you know, I was actually quite fascinated. The homeowner flipped the inside of the barbecue upside down so that the rat didn't have a place to harbor. I think this is a really great idea.
Okay. And you could bleach and stuff like that?
Bleach is great. Yeah, bleach is great. Turn your barbecue on, fire up the heat, kill germs. Always a good idea.
Okay. Can this attract rats and mice?
You know what? This is a perfect bird feeder. I mean, bird feeders we don't advocate bird feeders because they can attract rats, but this is awesome because the seed inside of it is solid. So you're not going to have a lot of pieces falling on the ground. It's got this grate on it that's not quite big enough for a rat to get its nose through and chew any of that seed. So it's actually really good.
Okay, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
So rats and mice don't need much to get in, right?
No.
You've got an example here.
No.
It's a good visual.
If you're a rat, that's what you're looking at for the size of an entry point to gain access into somebody's home. And believe it or not, if you're a mouse, that's it.
A hole
right
that
there.
big.
Just a dime.
So if these exist around your home, how you can close them up so you don't get a rat or a mouse inside the home, we'll get into that next. Mike Laundry is joining us. He is a pest control expert, learning lots from you today. Fruit flies.
Yes.
Can't say that fast.
Fruit flies.
When should we start worrying about them, and how do we deal with that?
Well, you know what? A lot of pests have come early this year because we kind of had an early spring, so you might be seeing them a little bit sooner than you normally would, maybe in the next couple of months. Some great things you can do. You can make your own homemade traps like this. This is an aftermarket trap. It's actually just vinegar. You peel this thing back, this goes on top of here, the fruit flies get caught in it. It's great. Another thing, fruit flies and also drain flies are often mistaken for being fruit flies. Drain foam. This is a biodegradable drain foam. You simply put it in the drains. It's not going to harm any fish. It just eats some of the organic material in the drains, keeps your drains clear, doesn't give a place for the fruit flies to reproduce.
Great information. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, we're going to continually talk about rodents and how they can get into your home. If you have some holes, they don't have to be big holes, that can be a big issue. How to cover them up, how to deal with that, we'll get into that next. Yes, beautiful morning here in Richmond. We are talking about pest control, rats and mice. We'll get into that right now with the pest control expert Mike Laundry. We have had a mild winter. Does that mean potentially we could see more mice and rats this year?
Absolutely. The last 3 years in a row we've had mild and also dry winters. This winter wasn't as dry, but it was still mild. So when they would usually just be hunkering down and trying to cling to life, they've been thriving during the cold season. They're going to be reproducing that much more, and there's going to be that many more of them doing that when things start to warm up this spring and summer.
Something to keep in mind. What have you noticed on the side of this house?
So what we're looking at is, it seems as though someone's done a little bit of home repairs. They've tried to do their own sort of pest control. Duct tape, I know that it's like the do-all, end-all, fixes everything. However, you're going to want to use something a little more long-term and permanent to seal off the access point, potential access point where rodents could gain entry.
So they would chew right through that, right?
Absolutely.
They want in bad enough. Okay. Real quick, show again just the size a hole can be in order for a mouse or a rat to get in.
So for a rat, it is just a loonie. For a mouse, it's a dime. That's it.
Okay, it doesn't take much.
Not at all.
You've noticed something here on the bottom of this garage. How do you deal with it?
Yeah, so there is a potential entry point here just below the side of this door. Now it's not large, but again, that's the kind of hole that you're looking at. So a little bit of wire mesh, you can get it from your local hardware store. If you can jam it in there well enough, the rats won't be able to get it out. You can otherwise fasten it with a staple gun, or if you're really handy, get out a hammer drill, put some anchors in there, secure it. You want it to be really secure because if they gain access once, they will try and get back in again.
Real quick, fire ants. This is also a big problem for homeowners.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
honestly, they're an issue that is not something homeowners are going to be able to tackle. Even pest control companies are having great difficulty dealing with fire ants. It's a conversation that comes up a lot at our pest control meetings. Hopefully, there's going to be a permanent or a semi-permanent solution coming soon.
Thank you very much. Learned a lot today. Hope you did too.